Hello everyone, I'm Betty and welcome to my channel. If this is the first time you're joining us, I channel messages from the divine and transmit light language activation codes that assist you in elevating your consciousness. So welcome. I would like to start out by thanking all of those who joined us and participated in the solstice event in Santa Barbara. What a great gathering and a powerful event. What I witness and what the participants receive never ceases to amaze me. So thank you once again for everybody who joined. It was such a powerful event, and just really amazing. Alrighty, so this month, in case you haven't heard, we have a new star that's being birthed. Between now and September, we don't have an exact time on that, we just have that time frame. It will only be visible for about 1 week and then it's gone. So, if you get a chance to see it, get outside. But it is located between Vega and Arcturus. And so if you look at a sky map, if you find them, it'll be, in alignment with them. But I'm sure there is maps out there you can find. It'll show you directly where it is. NASA has named this star T-Crb. Now that will be significant for some of you, and those that know will know. Even though this event has already taken place 3,000 light years ago, the ripple effect is just reaching us now. And it doesn't only affect the Earth, but it affects our entire galaxy. And with this birthing, we are receiving cosmic rays, and they contain gamma rays and radiation, which when we absorb them, creates change in our DNA, shifting us into another evolutionary stage. And it awakens what we consider superpowers. And no, you're not going to turn into the Hulk. No worries about that. But you will find your gifts coming back online. You never not have them. They're just reawakening at this point. And as usual, when we have these events, you will notice different symptoms. Usually it's exhaustion and fatigue. And as we've been witnessing so much lately, the brain stutters and the gaps as we reset. So, nothing to worry about. Just try to remember, if there's an event occurring, you're just being reset, and to just nurture yourself during that time, if possible. Now, should this event, because we don't know when it's going to hit, should this event hit near another major event, we'll get a double whammy from that. So we'll have fun with that one. But it's just for you to pay attention. Hopefully it won't sync up with that, and we'll just have to handle one event at a time. But most important, just remember common sense. Make sure you hydrate, make sure you listen to your body and take care of yourself as we go through these, because as I've been saying for the past year now, there's no breaks anymore. It's just one event hitting us after another. So we need to take good care of ourselves. And should you have the opportunity, please step out with yourself or your family and enjoy the view and get to witness this, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. This will not happen again for another 80 years. So you'll see that twinkling, that very bright star in the sky, and then after a week it will be gone again. So get outside if you can, and I'm sure the news will have it, hopefully, or you can always go. Yes, thank you. They're saying you go to NASA site, or I think it's sky.com, something like. But there's sites out there you can get more information on it. This month, the collective is coming through to speak about higher consciousness because you may have heard this term with enlightened friends or metaphysical classes or just in general, but not everybody has a true understanding of what consciousness is, let alone higher consciousness. And most people, what is it really? It's is it a knowing? Is it a mindset? Or is it a destination like Disneyland? And although we know Disneyland is the happiest place on earth, at some point you do have to go home. So what higher consciousness is, or consciousness, is geometrical and mathematical in nature. And that's the simplest terms, with everything being based on mathematical coding. So if you consider a set of dimensions is equal to an octave, and each dimension or realm holds certain light codes and geometry. So as we are moving out of the lower dimensions, the third, fourth, and then fifth, and we go into higher realms, you will see significant changes in the way you feel and the way you respond to things. And as you learn and grow within a realm, you expand your awareness and perspective that leads to higher consciousness. So every time you expand, you understand things in a different way. You look at things in a different way. You come to a different understanding. So whether it is by your own self-awareness process or planetary shifts, the consciousness is continually being raised. And each time you expand, you feel different, as if you're not the same person anymore, and you're not. I remember when I first started out, it would be slow in the beginning, and then all of a sudden I just wake up one day and I would feel very different. And it's like I knew I had this internal shift inside of me, but didn't have the words to kind of explain what happened. I just knew I was different. And then as the years went on, it kept accelerating. And sometimes I could experience as many as 10 shifts within a year, almost monthly. And it was like, wow, this is just, I couldn't even keep up with the expansion that I was experiencing. But you feel different, and sometimes you will experience it in small increments and other times in giant leaps. It just depends. It can be both, and more so in the beginning you'll have the smaller increments. But now they're actually saying with the shifts that are upon us and the events, it actually is more of the giant leaps than the small increments at this time. But you'll also notice that with each expansion that you feel, that your compassion and love rises. Just when you think it can't get any better, you expand again and you feel the heightened love and heightened compassion. And you just, it fills you up. It absolutely fills you up, and you're going, wow, this is great. And with that consciousness, you might have a distaste for a person, a place, or thing. And as you shift to see that bird's eye view, that higher perspective, within you comes understanding and the reasons why a person behaves the way they behave, why you behave the way you behave. Or maybe it's a place that you dislike because of the memories that invokes. It can be a multitude of things, but you begin to see between the cracks and the reasons behind it. You come into a heightened understanding, that it is part of the divine plan, that everything that you have experienced and gone through, because you were a part of co-creating it. And there are stages you will go through, and with each upgrade, the more intense the love and light becomes. And when you get to the heightened vibration, the heightened consciousness, things that are of a negative distortion or lower base distortion just begin to dissolve naturally. So once you recognize them, it's just like, oh, that doesn't really matter anymore. That doesn't affect me anymore. I don't feel the same way that I used to. Let's say if a person hurt you, I just don't feel that way anymore. So people that might have betrayed you or hurt you badly, you may actually feel, oh, you know what? I understand why those people did that, and it doesn't have any effect on me anymore, and I can let go of that. And I wish them well, and I love them, and I understand why they did what they did, because they weren't in that higher vibration. They didn't understand what they were doing. So it becomes easier to forgive people because you look at them in a different way. Instead, you find yourself in the higher vibrations, feeling in consciousness, feeling content, fulfilled, and satisfied. And you're just happy with everything and everywhere you are and whatever you're doing. You just have this joy and happiness that just wells inside of you. And you enjoy just being, not doing, just being. And you live without worry or concern because, again, you know everything's going to work out just fine for your benefit, and you don't have to do anything. And you know that everything works out just the way it's supposed to. And when difficulties arise or situations, you handle it in a very different manner. It just doesn't upset you anymore. You're able to see with clarity exactly what you need to do, so it doesn't become an issue anymore. It's just something like, oh, I know what I need to do. Everything's going to be fine, and it will unfold the way it's supposed to. There are also no limits to the expansion of higher consciousness. Ultimately, you elevate yourself all the way back to source. Now, there are many dimensions, sets of dimensions, I should say, that you go through as you're elevated back to source. And when you get back to source, and we're talking, this can be a very long time, millions of years. So it kind of boggles the mind in the lower realms to think that this is what we do. But when you get all the way back to source, you will have a choice. You've reached the higher consciousness as much as you can, as far as you can go. So you have a choice of either absorbing into source and becoming whole within, or you get to start the process all over again in the lower dimensions and work your way back. So there are always choices of where you want to take it. And I can hear most of you going now, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so sick of it. But trust me, being eternal beings, we get bored. It's plain and simple. We get bored. So we want to create. We want to expand. We want to experience these things. And this is part of higher consciousness. Now, in the past, we experienced higher consciousness through nature, plants, drugs, astral travel, lucid dreaming, meditation, and mystery schools, and other means. And now, since we have moved up into that new octave, once we achieve a certain frequency, we can rapidly transform through light codes, tablets, and sacred geometry. Each geometric pattern builds on the one before it. So you'll have one and you'll have growth and expansion, and then you integrate, and you have what's the word I'm looking for, contract, as you integrate everything, and then you expand, and then you receive another geometric pattern. So it just continues. So you're building one on top of another, becoming more and more complex. The more complex, the higher the consciousness. And the masters and the enlightened beings may have achieved consciousness in different ways, but what remains the same is the geometry that they had within them. And that enabled them to do things what we would consider miracles, which is just higher consciousness, learning all the different parts that are available to you. And yes, thank you. And they're saying too, to another way to look at it is a higher consciousness is a stairway, both genetically and quantumly. I don't know if that's a word, but I just said it, quantumly. Okay, so if you think about, we have the helix, right, of our DNA. It's a stairway. It's a stairway of evolution, of how we shift and change. And you're able to do that in the quantum realm. And so it is a stairway in both cases. Yes, thank you. And as you reach higher consciousness, you access different hidden parts of yourself, hidden doorways, hidden passageways, they're saying. So you're opening that up and realizing, oh, I never knew I could do this. Oh, I never know that this was available to me. So it just keeps growing and expanding. You also come to a place where you're just in peace, and nothing can disturb you and nothing moves you. You're just stable in peace and love, because now you come from a point of neutrality, and it is neither good or bad. It just is. You also have no need to gossip anymore or speak ill of people, because you see them as their whole selves, as a light, a particle of God. So you no longer look at how they are in lower consciousness, but are able to draw that curtain back and see how they are underneath, and understand why they are the way they are. Because you have that clarity. It's crystal clear clarity to be able to see through the illusions, which is, yes, thank you, which was something we talked about in the class, which I don't believe I've spoken about before, but they're wanting me to bring it up. And since we've had all this magnetic activity, the veils of what we call amnesia or illusion have dropped permanently. They're no longer there. So with this, it cannot be rebuilt. You will be able to also receive higher consciousness in the fact that you'll be able to, thank you, yes, they're saying, even my daughter came to me the other day, and she goes, Mom, I'm just hearing a party and there was nobody in the house, so she, and this, it amazed me how this was in conjunction with this. She's always been gifted, but now all of a sudden it turned on. So you may be experiencing that in different ways, whether it's third eye sight, or your feeling, your intuition, a host of gifts that you already have within you that are just going to be awakening, which comes with that higher consciousness. And lastly, they would say that with this, it also, you're able to come from a point of detachment. So you no longer worry about what the outcome is of a situation, or how things will play out. You're just detached from it. And again, knowing everything will happen the way it's supposed to. And there's so much more that I could talk about. This is just kind of a briefing for people to kind of understand what you go through and your experiences and what will be shifting more and more within the next couple of years. See if they want to say anything else about that. They're joking. They're going, more to come, more to come. Okay. So with that, I'd like to talk about what I call the P word, process. As I was learning and expanding, I heard it quite often when I was growing through difficult circumstances. And at one point, I wanted to explode if I heard one more person tell me, it's a process. It's like I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. I was living it, didn't want to hear it. But in truth, it was a process. Only I didn't realize how much of a process it was going to be. And I can laugh about it now, because I find it funny, some of the things I experienced, because I didn't know what I know now. But it wasn't funny when I was living it. And it was very drama and, oh my God, what am I going to do? Until you work yourself through that process and you come out the other side. And this is where we are. We're in the process of ascension. And so within that ascension, there is the process of presence. There is the process of letting go. There is the process of being heart-based, and so much more. So with each aspect, there is a process. Good times. And we're in that process of cycling into a new world and all that that entails. So the advice would be, when you hear the word process, befriend it. Don't make it your enemy by feeling frustrated, impatient, or irritable for wanting it to happen sooner. It's the process. And know that even if something can be accelerated to happen quicker, it is still a process. Instead, know it will happen, and all you have to do is take a step at a time. And they're showing me a pyramid right now, and at the base. So you have to take that one step up, and then another, and then another. And it may take a bit to get to the top, but when you reach the top, wow, what a view. It was all worth it. So knowing that wherever you are in your process of whatever process you're doing, just know you can relax and know you are right where you're supposed to be, as the process will take you through it. And some of us learn quicker than others. So some process can go quicker if you understand. Thank you. Yes. They're also saying the quicker the process, the higher the consciousness. So the higher vibration you're in, the more understanding you have, the quicker you can process through things. When you're starting or you're at the lower vibrations, it takes a bit longer to process through that. So even with everything accelerating now, everybody's going to be unique on how fast they want to learn and how fast they want to go through the process. But just know you're right where you're supposed to be. And okay, we're good. Okay. All right, so this month's light language transmission and activation are for a different P word, patience. And for the solstice codes, we will be transmitting those codes for you. And I know people were questioning about services, so if you have for more information or to schedule any of my sessions or services, my website is listed in the description box below, and you can look around and everything is right there for you. Calendar makes it easy, so just go on and you can see what you need and the times and the dates. And if you find these messages resonate with you, please share and like and subscribe. It does help because the spiritual community doesn't always get in on that algorithm, as I've been talking to different people. So every time you do, it helps all the spiritual communities grow. So I thank you for that. All right, so let's get into the patience codes and solstice codes. Dia shuya neakia adu yisibia huharan teasa neaku areniana suyinini ayariniti piashu tio sunea aka ne urienta ana ubrampa ane suyiste nane okuriana asia tuininia urapa su utenaya lahiminia te urmana ayara netoye biete dia osu yenetia tu shuninete ana urma ayasi itianta su ukante asi ishante te urimane lahame a urma aka arane te usu ata ara ana amuka a sepitiantu se nanaya wurianta maa karayane atuya surianea yase wuriana airianiatusu ayaren tuishte munana T creatusu uta ane ana adusu iata taasu itia kuramana arurana tu chantesi piantela mundeosu da aneaka yenien bia niene bia la khaweb khustana I tawayane pushtane akurama tatasania enekniatusu itiantusu araniatusu ishta ayanagatusu yenetuta orini bisi da khanendiganek de okorze biniatusu pia tete uarania suishta tarian dawaram apukana asa ayeshaneaku sarianemia sute lama kaneasu eliapi garibiasu biatuitiasu. All right, thank you everyone. Have a great month and a happy 4th of July if you're in the US, and I will see you next month. Okay, take care.